Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka Blitz, and I am back today with tough stuff. This is about tanks that are tough for one reason or another. And I've got to be honest, it's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek titling there, because this is about three tanks in particular. The VK4502B, which is a supremely armoured monster box that you can roll about in at tier 9. The LTTB, which is a supremely armoured monster box you can roll about in tier 7. And the 62 Dragon, which I'll get to in a moment. The VK4502B, I picked this tank in particular because I yesterday I released a video about the T54. And my basic point was that there is no real issue with the pen on the tank with 201mm of pen, and that nerfing the pen on these tanks won't really do a lot. And a lot of people have talked to me and said, well, Bushka, what about the armor nerfs? And that's true to a point. The armor will certainly affect tanks, and I want to show you exactly why I think Wargaming probably did it incorrectly with the LTTB at tier 7. I don't think that tank is particularly struggling at all. And I also don't think that it's forced it to play in any way, shape or form a different playstyle to the playstyle that you can play in at the moment, which is being really, really aggressive and taking huge amounts of risk because of the mobility and the armor profile on the tank. Now, the 4502B is a tank that has to make a living from its armor. It's got a lot of hit points, and for me, I prefer this tank to the Mouse. If it had more hit points, it would be absolutely disastrous for anyone at tier 10. It's got just the most glorious upper glacis. You can get that angled up to over 300mm, and when you are in an open field angling around the place, it's even stronger than an E75. And it has to be, because the tank's mobility is absolutely rubbish. When you're talking about a tank that can't really traverse super quick, it's not very fast around the traps, it's got no camo, and you can see you've got to set up your shots a lot sooner than you normally would. You've got to have good armor. And it does. It's got excellent armor. And you can see in this game, I'm making the most out of it. I'm hoping that someone was going to kill that pattern, but no one's going to do it. I'm going to do it myself. And then I'm angling it up for the next target, which is that KV5. There's a scent going to pop on the right-hand side here. And I'm just going to keep doing the best I possibly can. That Centurion 7-1 has featured in videos before where he ends up on the wrong team. He was actually in the E50M video where I did 7.5k, and he's team 1. I failed right at the end to pull off what would have been an amazing Kolobinov, but I had 3 one-shot tanks left. I just had to get that one T54E1. You can see how strong this tank is, really. I mean, it's a beast, and it's a slow-moving, ugly as sin, standard gunmetal grey German monster tank. And I love it. I really love this. This is like my favourite tier 9 heavy just about. I roll in this thing all the time, and it gets so little credit for being as strong as it is. And people miss out on this tank, and you really should drive it because there's a lot of crap tanks. And the tier 8 in this line is a disaster. But the German can do the business. You see that little snapshot there? That's as snappy as it gets with this thing. There is still this T54 lightweight around. I've had a good game, and I've used the tank's armor, and that's great because it needs that armor. And one of the things that Wargaming have talked about is they talked about on the podcast recently, you would have heard, not the podcast, the stream, where when I asked Alex about the recent update and the way that it lowered the penetration values on the tier 7 light tanks, whether that was a specific nerf against a tank or a specific nerf against the game style. And he said to me, and I agree with him, that they're trying to make the game less confrontational with lights and mediums, where they're getting too much strength and they're able to penetrate heavies frontally, and they're able to do all these kind of things where they can basically play with the same intensity as this VK4502B at tier 7, as in they can role play a heavy tank, and yet still have incredible mobility and camouflage. And the LTTB got nerfed for this. They smashed the penetration values on it down. and they smashed the penetration down on the SP1C as well. It lost 50 millimeters of pen off its heat rounds. All this was in aid of actually changing the style of play, and kudos to them, because Wargaming are not happy, they're not comfortable, and let's all be honest, it's not like this has been a sneak attack. They've been completely upfront about it, and if we're being honest about it, all the tanks that have been mentioned that have really risen the ire of the forums and a lot of people, the 54, the Object 140, the 62A, the LTTB, the SP1C, they've all enjoyed at times incredible power in the game in terms of competitive balance with their peers. The SP1C was a monster when it first came out. It's been nerfed a couple of times now, and they've given it a little bit back, but not much, and they've taken a lot more away from it than they would have, and it's still competitive. I can drive that thing and be competitive. And the reason is, light tanks, if you use them properly, are amazing tanks. They're brilliant. Their camouflage is ridiculous, right? It is insane. The ability to go 60, 70 kilometers an hour while not being seen at 150 meters is special. But there's certain light tanks that have it better than other light tanks. Let's just be honest about that. There we go. Kolobanov got some love there. 3,000 damage, second class, whatever. But you get the point. It's a big tank, uses armor. It relies on its armor. If it didn't have armor, it's got nothing else. This is the LTTB. This is post-nerf LTTB. This is an LTTB that has lost its penetration. I'm using the second gun because I prefer it with the 8 degrees of gun depression. I am going to be in front of the red team. I'm going to drive in front of the red team, and I am going to show you why the LTTB is still a little bit of a joke. That is camouflage working for you there. I spotted that Jagdpanther. I am very, very close to him indeed, and yet the poor old Jagdpanther at 136 meters did not see me. There is another tank. I'm going to hit him, and the camo is going to go up. Light bulb. That's the first time you're going to see the light bulb go off. You're going to see it go off a lot more. The LTTB needed a nerf because it's too bloody strong. It's got fantastic armor for a light tank. In fact, it's the armor that makes it stand out at its tier. It has insane mobility, don't get me wrong, and it has solid DPM, and its gun works for what it is. But it's the armor, when blended with camouflage, that makes this tank ridiculous. I'm in a position here where I can use soft camo, as in the tree that's in front of me. I can use the hard camo of the hill, and I can use the armor of the LTTB. And you're going to see how many shots I take and how the light bulb keeps going off. And I keep retreating and resetting camo and taking a shot and looking for more targets, and then the light bulb goes off, and then we just repeat the whole process over again. And I'm able to do it in front of red tanks. The reason that this is so important is because this is the gameplay that they're trying to eliminate. And I can do it in front of red tanks because I've got really stupid armor for a light tank. It is way too strong. I am able to bounce shots frontally in front of enemy tanks without taking damage, resetting camo, hitting them, going back, letting the light bulb go off again, and repeating the process. Now, I won't get away with it forever. I will eventually get hit, but I'm a light tank. The SP1C doesn't get the benefit of this. It has not got the armor that the LTTB has. And the LTTB is the one that really was meant to change its playstyle, and it just hasn't, because the penetration wasn't the issue. I can still pen people here. I can still move about the battlefield at incredible pace. And you're going to see that in just a second. When I get tired of just sitting over here farming shots out of red tanks that can't see me, and when they can see me, still can't bloody well pen me. I mean, look at that. I'm using other people to spot there, but I'm still taking shots at 250 meters and hitting them and not getting spotted. And then I am going to do what the LTTB does best. I am just going to drop the bloody hammer and fly across the map at an exorbitant speed, and while I'm doing it, I am going to maintain incredible camouflage at the same time. There we go, stopping to hit an IS, and we're spotted. I mean, how many times have I put the light bulb off and on this game, and then IS is tunneling over there, and I'm going to punish him for it. There are people coming up behind me, but that is fine. They cannot possibly catch me. I am way too quick as a tank, and I've pretty much just played this corner of the game to my heart's content. Not stressing, not doing anything. I've got just as much armor as, you know, your standard tier 7 heavy. I have exceptional mobility. I'm going to go around this T150 like he's not even there. And then I'm going to reverse around him quicker than he can turn. And this is why the LTTB has not been nerfed at all. Penetration is not its problem. Have you seen me reaching for the APCR yet? In a same tier match, I'm just not struggling. I can play the flanks in this tank. That's fine and dandy. I can play the flanks and I can use my camo and I can use my speed, which you can see here. I've gone 70 kilometers an hour. I am pumping across here. I've left the TD, the Churchill gun carrier. He's over there behind me. I am just absolutely hounding down this poor old... There he is. Now he's going to go up the other side. I'm still clocking along at 70. I'm basically going to turn around here and hit him on the fly. Nice and easy. Even though he knows I'm coming. There we go. Happy days. It's too strong a tank. And it hasn't been changed by the penetration nerf. The problem is, some lights at tier 7 got nerfed. There we go. 2,400 damage, 23,000 credits made, 18 shots fired, bounced a bunch of shots, didn't take damage from them, completely reset camo that many times it wasn't funny. SP1C got nerfed, the Type 71 got nerfed, the T71 got nerfed. This thing didn't get touched. This is the Type 62 Dragon. It is a Dragon. I'm just not running the Dragon camo. When I bought it, it was a Dragon camo. Not when I bought it, when I got it. I love the camo, by the way, on these. The bamboo camos and the water dragon and all that kind of thing. It's amazing. But this thing didn't get touched. This is a tier 7 premium light tank. The SP1C lost its penetration values. Its heat dropped from 250 to 200 millimeters a pen. Guess what the pen on the Type 62 is? It's 250 millimeters of pen on its heat. It's got a much higher DPM than the LTTB. It fires nearly a shot and a half, 2 shots a minute more than that. And it has no qualms penning tier 8 tanks, which is the game I'm in here, because it has 250 millimeters of heat on it. And you can use it in any fashion you like. I love the product. I love wargaming. I love the way they work. They've given me an opportunity to do something I'm passionate about. They let me work at the Twister Cup, and I am so thankful for them. But I'm baffled by this kind of thing. And this tank needs a nerf as well. Like, it's always been an amazing tank. It's got great DPM. It's got fantastic camouflage. It goes super quick. It has 250 millimeters of heat pen, and it makes money into the bargain, but it's a premium tank. So if they touch this thing, you're going to find people that paid for it absolutely up in arms. And I can understand that that puts the guys at Wargaming between a rock and a hard place. But I don't understand why the poor old SP1C copped a 50 millimeter pen nerf when a tank like this doesn't get nerfed at all. And this is a superb tank. If you ever get a chance to buy the Type 62, you should. It is glorious. It is fun. You can see how solid it can be played. It is an absolute treasure of a tank. The camo on it is superb. The gun penetration is lovely. The gun handling stats are just fine. It goes like a bullet. It does so many things well. And it has no armor. So I feel like that's fair enough. It should have really good pen. It's got absolutely no armor. I just don't know why the poor old SP1C doesn't have this kind of pen. Now, I want to make one thing clear. I know a lot of you won't agree with me, but I think the SP1C is a balanced tank. I think there are a lot of tanks that are better than other tanks, and that's always going to be the way of it. Some tanks have to be better than other tanks. Like, it's just... It's just how it is. But there's not many tanks in the game that you can't win with. And that's legit. There is a reason why Wargaming is worried about tier 10s in particular. It's because if you watch the Twister Cup, the variety of tanks was not there. There were huge amounts of tanks that never got played in the Twister Cup, or if they did, were played as gimmicks on one particular map. And that's really worrying, because you want to have a good esports environment, but you don't want to have the same tanks rolling out every single game. It's just a bad product. And I don't think that we're going to see the end of it. I think they'll balance, and I think they'll look at the numbers, and then they'll go back and they'll balance again, and they'll see how it works, and then they'll move forward. But I'm happy with Wargaming for being active about this. I think that it's good that they're active, that they try and figure out a way forward, that they try and figure out a way to make the game better and a way to improve the game and a way to make people play in a certain manner. But, I mean, you can see here, I'm on the top of Dead Rail, and people will say, oh, you're sniping, whatever. There's 3 tanks left, 2 tier 8s and a tier 7. But I've basically just taken my time, and I've not taken a lot of damage, and I've given myself an opportunity at the end to use the skills that I've built up over years of sucking and learning how to be bad, and I'm going to use those skills to actually get the win. And there we go. We're going to let that T28 roll forward, and we're going to ignore him, and we're going to put the kill shot into the guy at the back there, the Super Pershing. Thank you for coming. And then we're going to go round the T28, because he is in fact very, very slow and very, very ponderous. And that's it. That's why light tanks are just Jim Dandy when they don't have any armor, and if they don't have great penetration, because you don't really need to just sit there and spam heat. There are other ways to do it. But hey, if Wargaming are going to leave you with 250 millimeters of heat pen on your Type 62 Dragon, who am I to say no to Wargaming? Until next time, boys and girls, thank you very much for watching. It's a couple of Kolobanovs there. That was kind of cool. I forgot about that. But I used 3 very different tanks to illustrate the point that I was trying to make, I guess. There's a lot of stuff coming up. I've got to do some more reviews this week, but I've been doing so many reviews of late, I thought I'd take a break and just have a little bit of a Sermon on the Mount moment for you yesterday and today. But I promise I'll be moving on and stop giving you just opinions. Look after your families. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and until next time, stay safe on the battlefield.